Hello, my name is Clarke. I am a lecturer in health informatics in Foundation Year Medicine and Physiotherapy in the Royal College of Surgeons in Dublin. This lecture is aimed at students in the Foundation Year 2017-18 in Bahrain and Penang, and the content of the lecture introduces you to the online lectures as part of the Professionalism module. That's me. Here I am at my desk in Dublin. If you want to get in touch, you can find my email address on the course page. Also, you can post something in the discussion forum, but I'd like to get to know you. So, students taking this class, what I want you to do is to post a biography, something very short and sweet. You'll get the idea when you log in to the course page. And tell me a little bit about yourself, why you want to be, or why you're studying in healthcare. And if you like, attach a photograph. I'm a keen photographer. So also, I want you to upload your curriculum vitae or resume. Now, there's a sample template here, and I'd like you to upload that by a deadline. So, these are compulsory exercises, but they're not graded. This will help me get to know you in this course sense of the biography, and in the curriculum vitae it will get you familiar with Moodle if you're not already familiar with it. This is not going to take a lot of time. Just get it done before the deadline, and we can progress. But if you don't do it, I will email you and I'd like to know why. So, moving along, here's I want to wish you hello from Dublin and welcome to the course. This image I took from the top of the tallest building in the city, and if you've ever been here, you might recognize some of those bridges. If not, come and join us sometime. We'd love to see you. Very briefly, I think it's always useful to show you the differences in what's going on. Just point out, here we go, in Georgetown at the moment. I would consider this warm and humid and rainy. I would consider this unbelievably warm in Bahrain, and I consider rain and that temperature kind of normal for me, obviously, because it's where I live. So although we're all doing the same course here, we're all involved in the same thing, we're doing it in very different settings, if even just from the perspective of weather. And that's more or less the view out of my window this afternoon. It's one of those days, as we say. So, look, we're diverse. I'm not physically present. I'm not going to fly to Bahrain or Penang to give this class. I'd love to sail there, but then I wouldn't have enough time for teaching. So what we need to do is to make sure that you have the information you need for this part of the course. And on your Moodle page, you'll see something pretty much like this. This is a screenshot from the Bahraini website, the Bahraini Moodle site. So there's very small differences between the two, but what we have here is a list of lectures, and content will go into those lectures as the weeks progress in the course. Here is a document that gives you the list of online lectures and their learning outcomes. So, Medical University of Bahrain, Penang Medical College, it's aimed at you specifically. So here are the links on the course page where you will post your biography, and the link where you will upload your curriculum vitae or resume. And that is the online course, if you like. It's standalone in terms of Moodle. You can see it, it's all clumped together. The numbers don't run in sequence, but that's because not all of the lectures are given online. As part of this course also, you'll be expected to read documents that I add to each folder. So it may be the case that there will be a video of this lecture in this folder, and also a PDF of a published academic paper that I'd like you to read. So you need to follow up on that as you are instructed in the lecture. So how this works generally, each week I'll put videos, PowerPoints, and required reading always good to get the spelling right, required reading and additional reading online. So additional is, you might like to read this, but required is you must read it. And this, again, will be clearly flagged. So each lecture will have some or all of these elements. Definitely a video, definitely a PowerPoint, but not all of them will have required reading or additional reading. And in some cases, there may be another video, or indeed there may be some other type of document, a link to a website or something like that. So you need to spend time and familiarize yourself with everything that comes with that lecture. And I will, when a new lecture is available, I will make sure a notice is published on Moodle, and you will then get emails of that notice through your college email account. So it's pretty important that you stay on top of that. If you want to get in touch with me, use the forums, post your questions there, or indeed email me directly, and my email is on the course page. Some advice I would give to any student very quickly is that 80% of your success in this course is turning up and being present, which is a little of a contradiction in terms when we come to online lectures. But all I can say, if you're scheduled to attend something, attend it. If you have a small issue, don't let it become a big problem. Discuss it with somebody. Always seek advice or help if you're in any difficulty. A problem shared is a problem halved, and that is true, I think, of anything. I would encourage you to study regularly, develop your timetable, but make sure you've got free time in there to enjoy yourself, or do your hobbies, or engage in sporting activity. Try strike a balance. Studying all the time is not the best way to do things. I need to impress upon you that information will not find you, in that it won't be handed to you. Maybe you had a slightly different setup in high school, so you must find it. So read your email and engage with Moodle. That's really very important. And you've got to watch your timetable and be familiar with the rules. This will come over time, but if there's a deadline, make sure you know when it is. If you need to produce a medical cert or whatever it might be, make sure that you're aware of what needs to happen. And there are course books available that cover all of this information. So, professionalism in the health sciences generally, and my perspective on it, is that it's not quite like physics, biology or chemistry. It doesn't really have a hard and fast yes or no answer in all cases. In some cases, yes, there will be yes or no answers or definitive answers. But generally what we're asking you to do is to think, write, read, communicate, interact, work in groups. There's lots to this. And the course is designed to facilitate your growing awareness, and growing awareness is an important point in that this will be ongoing throughout your entire medical training. We want you to be aware of the crucial roles that communication, culture, collaboration, critical thinking, medical ethics, information literacy, project management and self-reflection, the roles these play in the professional practice of medicine and physiotherapy. So each of these is a facet to the course. In particular, I will, in the online lectures, will cover issues about communication, critical thinking, some ethics, and the focus of the lectures are really on information literacy. But information literacy has a link back to ethics. So, but as I say, these lectures will be clearly flagged. So each context and component of the module are interrelated, and we hope that you will re-engage and reflect on the core questions of the module. What is professionalism? What does it mean to be a professional doctor or physiotherapist? And one question, and again, you must be cautious. A word of caution here: there's no hard and fast answer. We're engaging, re-engaging, and thinking, reflecting. So, but one question here: what is the most important personal quality you need to be a professional doctor or physiotherapist? What do you think that is? Think for 2 seconds there. What's the most important quality you think a doctor should have? Well, I asked the class here, and this is what they told me: empathy, respect, compassion. But you can see in here motivating, supporting, a good listener, humility, responsibility there, open-minded. They're all very different things. And how can we rank them? We can't say empathy is the most important thing or aspect to being a good doctor, but it's certainly important. Compassionism, they all have a place. And really, this module partly is designed to provoke you to thinking how these words apply to you and how can you develop in those terms. Very basically, from an information literacy point of view, which is what I'm interested in, we want to get you from this point where who knows what this woman is doing behind her computer to being the professional. And there's a journey in this. There's not just about the quality of the information you find, but also how you behave online. What is an appropriate behavior online, that type of thing. So there's multifaceted there as well. In terms of how the module is run, here we are in this is the Dublin schema, but there we are where it's a 10 credit module, and the bit I'm teaching you is in semester 1 only, and it's 10% of all the marks in this module, and it is examined by a 30-minute online multiple choice question exam, which will happen later after teaching has finished, but not in the main exam period. So the lecture learning outcomes here, there is some examinable material here in this lecture, so I'm going to get to it. I want you to define the meaning and importance of professionalism in the context of a healthcare professional. Identify how professionalism is positioned in the entire curriculum. Define 3 ways or 3 domains as specified by Bloom's taxonomy. And they are cognitive, affective and psychomotor. And then finally to recognize the importance of these 3 domains as part of their ongoing professional development and commitment to lifelong learning. So that sounds quite a mouthful, but let's get into it, okay? So what is professionalism? And I'm taking this from the Irish Medical Council. There is no significant difference. People generally agree what it is, but here's an example. It says, in interactions with colleagues, including academic staff, healthcare and administrative staff, you should do the following, right? Behave in a courteous and professional way. Yes, we would expect that. Recognize and respect the contribution of all staff. That doesn't always happen. People can be in their own world, if you like, are just really tuned in to the people they work directly with and maybe not appreciative of what's happening elsewhere. And also, professionalism requires that you work together with colleagues in a way that best serves the patient's interest. And don't forget, it's patients, that's where you're heading. So, that's not the absolute definition, but that is good enough for now. Good enough for you as you enter into the medical school. You will hear a lot more about this as time goes on. Now, as a student, and the Medical Council here has rules and suggestions for students. And I appreciate that the audience I'm speaking to is in Bahrain and Penang, but I'm going to use this as a guide, something that can guide us basically. So here, as a student, you should understand and respect the limits of your competence and responsibility. So you don't take something on that you're not fully aware of or trained to do. And that would be really important when you get to the hospital. Seek advice or assistance when your level of experience is inadequate to deal with a situation on your own. That's crucial. Know your limits, know what you need to do, and how to get help. Never recommend medical treatment or any particular action that might be interpreted by patient or others as medical advice. So you're a student. You don't have that authority. That only comes when you graduate. Be willing to undertake appropriate examination. So at some stage you will have to be close to or examine other people. That is a difficulty. It's a change perhaps in your personal space. But it is expected of you as a student. And finally then, the Medical Council would like students to reflect and learn from experiences in the academic and clinical settings. And that's crucial. You're going to be in many, many different sorts of situations, and you need to learn from them and understand what happened. Not just to be able to recite what happened, but say, okay, something happened there. I need to change what I'm doing. I need to react in some way. That's really important. And overall, and part of the learning outcomes in this module is to identify how professionalism is positioned in the entire curriculum. And you know what? That'll come. That's not... You will identify or be aware of professionalism issues as you progress through the curriculum. And you should start thinking about them now. So in terms of Bloom's taxonomy, so this is... another examinable material in this lecture. So what we want you to do is to be able to differentiate between the three domains as specified in Bloom's taxonomy. So they are cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. But what are they? And we want you to understand the importance of these three domains as part of ongoing professional development and commitment to lifelong learning. So we need to be able to categorize how we're learning, to think about how we're putting information together. So at this level here, simply remembering would pass a multiple choice exam. If you could remember every fact, you could pass lots and lots of exams, depending on how they're written. But in order to if all you were asked to is remember facts, that's it. But if you're given information and asked to understand it, that's a little different. You're putting two pieces of information together to form a third. And then next to that is applying that information. So I've remembered what it was I need to do. I understand why this procedure needs to be done. Now, how do I apply it? How do I put that into action? And above that again, we need to look back at that process. We analyze what has happened, evaluate it, and then maybe it creates something new. We think slightly differently after the event. So here we are in, here's a definition of those three areas: cognitive, mental skills, knowledge, remembering information, understanding it to some degree, affective, growth in feelings or emotional areas, to your attitude to something, or yourself. So you've had an interaction, you've done something, and it has now informed how you see that interaction or how you will approach it in the future. And psychomotor being manual or physical skills, such as dressing a wound, putting in stitches, taking out stitches, that kind of thing. So let me give you an example of how this might apply. This is the human pancreas there, and there is a schematic of what it looks like. There's the gallbladder. Under the liver would be above here. There's some of the small intestine, and there is the pancreas. And the spleen will sit at the end of it. So, pancreatitis is an inflammation of the pancreas. That itis, you've seen that before, right? That's fairly straightforward. The thing with pancreatitis is it has several causes and symptoms, and it requires immediate medical attention. It's something that needs investigation straight away. Now, I have good reason to know about this, because this is my father, and he died of pancreatic cancer at the age of 59. And the time between him being diagnosed and his death was less than 4 weeks. We knew nothing about this. He had pain, and 4 weeks later he was dead. So it's a long time ago now, but obviously I still think about it frequently. So let's think about that. Knowledge and remembering here in the lens of Bloom's taxonomy. So we can define the common findings of pancreatitis. So I could ask you, like, what is pancreatitis? What are the common findings? And you could rattle them off for me. You'd know the facts. Now, the comprehension and understanding is a little level. So for me to know that you understand what pancreatitis is, you'd summarize the mainstay of therapy for acute pancreatitis. You know what needs to be done, and you can compare this with the treatment for chronic pancreatitis. So there's different types, and you know, okay, this is what we do here, and this is what we do here. Acute and chronic, we know how to handle this. And then you can give me a chart, if you like. You can apply that information and explain it back to me. You could separate them and show me what was unique between chronic and acute pancreatitis. At the analysis stage, and this is where we said we had 3 domains here, 1, 2, 3, but above it here, we can look at the evidence and we can decide, okay, we've had the tests back, this indicates that, so I know what I need to do next. And you can evaluate the situation. You know, I think we need to do something else even further. We need to look for more information because we don't have all of it. So you evaluate the situation and maybe justify a CT scan or whatever you think is appropriate. And then in the synthesis and creating, really, you might think, okay, I think I know what this is, but what else could it be? Have I ruled everything out? Am I sure? Is there anything I'm missing? So it's a simple matter perhaps just to define it, but it's a very different matter to run through all of these levels in this disease and think, okay, I'm pretty sure it's pancreatitis of whatever form, but what else could it be? Or can it be something else? So that's a journey, if you like, in terms of knowledge and application. There is a video which will explain this to you a little further. Very short. I'd advise you to watch it. In fact, you must watch it. It's part of the learning outcomes of this lecture. So in terms of blooms, you need a basic understanding. So your first 2 tasks, post a biography and upload your curriculum vitae. Deadline is around about 20th, I think, or there. But anyway, it's in Moodle. No, it's more than the 20th. You go have a look. Do those 2 things. I can get to know you. You can get to know each other. When you post a biography, you won't see anybody else's biography until you post your own. So maybe that's a little bit of an incentive. Don't forget the pictures. And in terms of the resume or curriculum vitae, do not give me your life story. There's absolutely no need. Just fill in with a couple of lines. I'm looking for compliance and a demonstration that you can or know how to use Moodle. So, thanks again. I appreciate your time and attention. I'll be back in online again to broadcast the next lecture very soon. You'll get a message. My advice again, work hard and have fun. Don't spend all your time studying and don't spend all your time having fun, obviously, but strike a balance. You have a great opportunity ahead of you. It's a very long track you're going down. You will be learning on all your life. So this is what we hope we underpin in some ways in the professional module. This is, by the way, the Bonneville Salt Flats in the United States. A highly unusual place, worth a visit, I can tell you. Anyway, if you have any questions, email me. I really would like students to post questions in the forum. That means everybody can see the question, everybody will benefit from the answer. But if you really feel shy or you don't want to ask a question on the forum, email me and I will anonymize it and post it back on the forum. And my email address is on the Prof course page. I have not included it here just to maybe thwart the spammers. I'm not sure if that's really valid, but I didn't put it on screen. It's on the course page. Okay. Thank you very much indeed, and you'll be hearing from me very soon.